Hollywood, can you please stop this already? I understand that adapting an established IP with a built-in fan base is thought to be a safer bet than doing something original, but how many times do we have to sit through a movie adapted from a musical and wind up right back in the exact same place before we put the possibility on the table that maybe these shows were just not meant to be viewed this way? I need to put two things out there before I say anything about this. One, I don't like musicals. Outside of La La Land, which is legitimately great, and maybe one or two others, they're just not for me. I'm more open to them when they're originals made as films, and that's the format they're intended to be viewed in, rather than being adapted from a stage show. To me, those tend to come off a lot better, so I'm more forgiving of them. But musicals that were made for the stage and are later adapted into movies, those things need to stop. Because it seems like every time I see one of them, I have the same issues over and over because film wasn't the storytelling platform these things were intended for, so it always seems to be a really awkward fit. And two, I don't know anything about West Side Story. This was my first exposure to any version of this show, so I'm not sure if that was part of the problem, if I didn't have the right appreciation for it because I went in cold or something. I don't know what they cut out, what they left in, or what they made up just for the movie, but you know what? I've seen other movies that were adapted from musicals I never saw, and each time I walked out of the theater thinking the same thing. Something must have gotten lost in the translation, because this, I don't get it. I saw the movie on Friday. It's Sunday as I'm recording this, so I've been thinking about this for 2 days, and I'm still not sure what went wrong here. At a glance, everything seems like it should work. The singing and dancing is all very good. I'm hardly an expert on this stuff, but I didn't see any chinks in the armor there. The cast is fine. They're almost entirely people I've never heard of, which makes me think most of them are likely professional singers, dancers, and stage performers, and that sounds like a good idea on paper if you're making a musical. It's well directed, the cinematography is beautiful. I don't think it was an issue of the filmmakers dropping the ball. I mean, it's Spielberg, for God's sake. Even if he misses the mark, it's not like he's gonna shit the bed or anything. A lot of the really important stuff a musical needs to get right, it gets right. So why then did this movie still do nothing for me? Well, not to beat a dead horse, but it's the same issue I always seem to have with these things. Stage musicals are just a bitch to adapt into movies. And in this case, you're taking a musical that I'm assuming must have been quite a bit longer than the 156-minute runtime of this film and condensing it so much that something important must not have made the final cut. Some kind of key subplot or exposition or character development, I don't know what, but whatever wound up on the cutting room floor, the story needed. Because in my opinion, the story is the reason why West Side Story doesn't work. The bare bones of it are alright. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, but they're on different sides of a culture war and rival gangs threaten to tear them apart. It's old-fashioned, but there's nothing wrong with it, I guess. That's all well and good. But that relationship between the boy and the girl is at the heart of the story. Everything hinges on it. If that relationship doesn't work, you don't have a movie. And it is the weakest part of the entire thing. Almost every major plot point in the movie is motivated or caused by this romance, and not at any point did it feel worth it. This has to be the most one-dimensional romance I've seen in any movie in years. Tony and Maria see each other from across the room, they have a dance, they kiss once, and then just like that, they're head over heels in love, talking about running away and being together forever. And I'm like, really? Because you've only shared about 5 minutes of screen time, known each other for maybe 2 days at this point. You can sing about how much you love each other until you're blue in the face, but you can't expect anyone to believe that. Hell, Tony's got this monologue about how Maria saved him from the dark abyss or something that he'd been falling into since he nearly killed some guy in a gang war and went to prison, and it just comes off like utter bullshit. Dude, you met this chick like 12 hours ago. You know exactly 2 things about her right now. Her name is Maria, and she's hot. That is fucking it. So please spare me the love ballads about how one dance with her changed your entire goddamn existence, okay? I just don't buy it. You can make that kind of thing work in a musical because musicals are designed to use songs in place of story and character and stuff like that, but a movie is different. In a movie, story and character are really fucking important, and if you don't have those things, you're gonna be hard-pressed to sell any anything about this. Because so much of what happens is dependent on you caring about that romance, on you being invested in these two being together, but the relationship is barely there. Every time there's some kind of major event, the movie tells us that this thing must happen, or this thing cannot happen, or this thing is so epically sad and tragic and heartbreaking because Tony and Maria just love each other so damn much, and God forbid they be torn apart. Guys, they met yesterday. They've been on one date. What are we doing here? So again, I come back to the adaptation thing. That's the only explanation I can think of for why this movie is the way it is. Having never seen this show before, having never seen the musical, I have to assume that in the filmmakers' efforts to condense it to feature length, something like 98% of Tony and Maria's relationship must have gotten cut out. Because if that's not it, if this is all there is to it, if this supposedly epic romance happens over about 72 hours max, with them only sharing a small handful of scenes together, if this is a full and complete depiction of their romance in the musical, then maybe we should consider the idea that West Side Story is just not that good. Or at the very least, it hasn't aged well. But people have called this show a classic for decades. I think a previous adaptation won Best Picture at the Oscars. I have to believe there are versions of it out there that are better than this. Maybe they did something that this one didn't? I don't know. Is it me? Do I just not get musicals? Hell if I know, but the musical aspect of it wasn't exactly winning me over either. The movie opens with the Jets on their way to start some shit. They're walking down the street all threatening like, when suddenly they start dancing all over the place. Like, wee, la 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 la, yeah da 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 da, la 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 la. And then just like that, the switch flips, and they're like, we are hardened street thugs, and we have chosen violence. Get the hell out of our town, you dirty Puerto Ricans, before we start a rumble. Dudes, all your badass street cred went out the window when you started dancing, okay? Shut up. Sure, I get it. The white guys hate the Puerto Ricans. The Puerto Ricans hate the white guys. Tony and Maria are caught in the middle. Boo fucking who. And you're all great dancers, hats off to you. But the dancing itself isn't making this rivalry feel more serious to me. Quite the opposite. That's all I've got. Look, West Side Story might be a great musical. I don't know, the only version I've ever seen is this one. But if it is, maybe it should have stayed a musical. Because as a movie, this just didn't do it for me. But I'm willing to bet that if you dropped a camera in front of the stage musical, hit record, then put the video on Disney Plus or something so you could experience the show as it was meant to be seen, it would probably come off a lot better. So maybe we should just do that from now on. If you've got an original musical film that was always intended to be made as a film, like La La Land or even Enchanted or something, I'll take it. But I'm pretty sure adapting these things from the stage is never not going to be awkward. So let's just give that a rest for a while. Thanks for watching, leave a comment, ding the bell icon, and follow me on social media so you'll always get notified when I upload new stuff. I also have a live streaming channel, links to everything are down below. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up, share, subscribe, and make sure you're still subscribed, because what really deserves to be knifed in a gang war between two groups of racist dirtbags who can't stand the fact that a white guy and a Puerto Rican girl had the audacity to dance together for 2 minutes is the YouTube algorithm. That's all for now, but I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for that, do all the YouTube things, and I'll see you next time.